Here now, Tom Homan, former acting ICE director and Fox Business contributor. Tom, great to see you. I want to play for you this clip from the governor's remarks today. Listen.
To help local officials whose communities are being overwhelmed by hordes of illegal immigrants who are being dropped off by the Biden administration, Texas is providing charter buses to send these illegal immigrants who have been dropped off by the Biden administration to Washington, D.C.
Tom, the president won't go to the border, so Governor Abbott is going to send the border to him. What do you make of the governor's comments today?
Look, I think the governor rocks. I mean, look, he's done more to secure our southern border than anybody in the administration has. Think about it. All the DPS officers down there, National Guard troops, every person the DPS arrests is one less gotaway. Every ounce of fentanyl they seize is a lot less deaths of overdoses in the United States. Governor Abbott's doing a great job down there. And, you know, one thing, even with his troops down there, even with his officers down there, just yesterday, there was still over 8,200 crossings, 8,200 in one day. And the Biden administration has already moved 56 people to the Remain in Mexico program. Now, look, the federal court, I was part of that lawsuit, the federal court ordered the Biden administration to put the Remain in Mexico program back in. And they've been slow rolling it for 6 months. The secretary needs to be held in contempt of court. They need to call him back in because they're not doing what the courts ordered them to do. And they're creating this crisis, and they're ignoring the numbers on the border.
Tom, you got to help me with the borders here, because DHS says the number of crossings could double, more than double, when Title 42 ends. I'm just trying to think about the strain on the resources down there. I'm talking about physical resources. I'm talking about human resources. Paint a picture for us of what you think it's going to look like when that order, if and when that order gets rescinded in late May.
Look, they've already got over 1 million apprehensions in 6 months. We're on the glide path right now to have over 2 million entries this year, which blows away last year's number, which are historic. But when they lift Title 42, they're going to overwhelm the Border Patrol. Border Patrol can't respond to it. They can't possibly handle this. And here's what the scariest thing about this is going to be. Last month, there were 67,000 gotaways. 67,000 people crossed the border and were not arrested. They got by the Border Patrol. Who are those 67,000 people? Look, after 9/11, we have all these database checks. You can't get a visa coming to this country unless you're checked. You can't get an airline ticket to come to this country because of the threat of terrorism. We got 67,000 people last month cross this border undetected. So when they lift Title 42 and the Border Patrol can't handle it, they're overwhelmed already. That 67,000 is going to triple. You're talking about 150,000 people a month coming to this country undetected. We don't know who the hell they are. They can be gang members. They can be carrying fentanyl. They can be known as suspected terrorists. This is a national security issue. And I'll say this. I heard this from several chief patrol agents. This country, the United States of America, has lost operational control of our southern border. We can't contain it with what's going on down there. And the Mexican cartels control our southern border. That just scared the hell out of every American. And President Biden handed control to the Mexican cartels because he refuses to secure the border.
Tom, you mentioned that lawsuit that's in place from 3 attorneys general trying to block rescinding Title 42. Do you think that will succeed in time to prevent the worst of what you're talking about?
I don't think it will. But here's what the secretary can do, because he said yesterday, well, I can't control what the CDC's doing. They can end Title 42. There's nothing I can do. What he can do is put Remain in Mexico back in full force across the entire southwest border and return most of those people down to Mexico. But he won't do it because he don't want to secure the border. This is open borders. He needs to be impeached. Every month he's been secretary, the numbers keep climbing on the southern border. He is a failure. This administration's a failure. They can secure this border in a week if they reinstate the Trump policies.
And we can see the pressure building. We can see it in the images on the border. Tom Homan, we have to leave it there. Thanks for being with us.